Well, if the job wasn't a lot of fun, I don't think anyone would do it this long. At least, except for masochists.
So career is something people choose. A lot of times, most of the time I feel like people settle for something, you know, instead of going for something.
It's, in terms of the qualifications for the job, it's very analogous to what you would do in other sort of low-end service industry type jobs.
Courier and frustration. Well, financial frustration.
You're gonna go down, you're cab drivers. I don't like cab drivers. As a matter of fact, I hate those guys.
We've always catered most of our bags and just what we do to messengers.
October 9th, it's Messenger Appreciation Day.
It may go back to the beginning of time, the close-knit relationship of messengers and baristas.
Get around. You get around by bicycle in ways that I think are ridiculous sometimes. Like seriously, just take a car.
I started wearing my helmet after my 7th head injury, I think it was. I wasn't ready to give the job up. So that's why I love it. I'm proud to be part of it, you know?
As best I've figured out, who's going to keep doing this forever, and it's usually never the people you think will.
For a lot of people, they don't, even know that there would be a subculture surrounding messengers, but then you've got people that, I think people that have lived in, I guess we could say, sort of major cities, and especially major cities whose main transportation infrastructure was developed prior to World War II, right? So cities like New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Boston, San Francisco. People that have lived in these cities understand that there's a bicycle messenger subculture, because day in and day out, if you're in the central business districts, you can't help but notice these men and women zooming through the city with these giant bags on their backs, darting in and out of traffic. And so people in these sort of places have seen bike messengers and are aware of their presence. People that aren't familiar with these sort of cities oftentimes are completely perplexed by the idea that A, people still make deliveries by bicycle, and B, people would that people would think it was cool, or that it was anything other than silly or quaint.
This is Brad. He's both silly and quaint. Brad used to work as a messenger. Now he's an architect. But every now and then he'll come back and help me out when I need a day off. I talked him into helping me demonstrate what a day in the life of a San Diego messenger is like. It's not uncommon to start the day off at Tony's coffee cart. This is Tony. You know it's time to start work when you've spent more on coffee than you'll probably make that day. If you're an independent messenger, the clients will usually call you directly. You'll get a pickup address, a delivery location, and a time frame in which the delivery needs to be made. Parking is never a problem, just find an open meter. Although riding elevators can get a little annoying, there's always some wise guy who wants to know how many miles a day you ride. Once the package is on board, Brad will drop it off, route any other deliveries that may come up, and repeat that process as many times as possible. But it's not always busy, and when you don't have any deliveries to do, you must find something else productive to do with your time. In this industry, it's famine or feast. So when it's busy, it's busy. One day you may get only 15 calls all day. The next, you may get 15 calls in an hour. You just never know. It's common to keep track of all your pickups and your drop-offs on what is known as a manifest. The main reason I have Brad use a manifest is I don't want him forgetting any of his deliveries. A missed delivery could cost a messenger his or her job. Brad having a panic attack as he realizes he almost forgot his last pickup. And that, my friends, is a typical day in the life of the world's best job.
One, two, 3, 4.
We're gonna see how much stuff I can get in my bag. Just to give you an idea how big these bags really are. Not saying other jobs ain't no good. Start this one, well I knew that I would. Probably never won't do nothing else again. For work, pick up your package and drop it off. Repeat the process till I'm off the clock. The more work I do, the more money that I make. Whoa, it's the living I've been given. Wind in my hair and the sweat on my brow. There we have it, 4 little deliveries. With this here, if you're feeling like it's a little bit too heavy of a load, you can always throw another strap here. That's why I prefer to use a double strap bag. Bags can be as personal to a messenger as the bikes they ride. And San Francisco is where you can find some of the best messenger bags in the world. Travis here has never bought a messenger bag in his life. He said before his first day as a messenger, he just sewed his own custom bag. He started sewing bags for friends, and before he knew it, he was making more bags than deliveries. Ellie here has a similar story.
Well, I started messengering in Philly in '97. I was actually technically still supposed to be in high school. So I started making bags like maybe a year into when I became a messenger. Then I just met my business partner, and he really wanted me to fix his bag. Do you need any other? And we would just hang out and talk about how stuff wasn't made very well. Well, I mean, that reminds me of the reason that we named the company Reload, you know, because we thought, oh, what are we going to name the company? We're like, well, how many times do we load and unload our bags in a day? Well, we've always been really into the idea that we make something with the client opposed to just making it for the client. And I think in a way it's like our way of sort of like helping to reprogram people's idea of buying things. And it's not like a radical thing, you know, it's just like a little bit different. It's like, hey, look, you know, you don't have to be that removed from the things that you buy. Like, you can be part of the process. I mean, and it makes sense too, because if there's going to be one user that can test something thoroughly, it's going to be a messenger. Pretty much, it was hard to give up, to tell you the truth. It's way more fun to ride your bike. I mean, I really like making things, but there's nothing like just being out there and just seeing the city and seeing what people are doing.
Let's check back in with freight baggage and see what they're doing. Company parking lot, employee of the month spot, and Travis checking his Facebook status. I only had an hour to film and everyone seemed pretty busy, so to the best of my knowledge, this is how a bag gets made. First guy cuts the pattern. Next guy sews on the Velcro and assembles the straps. Third guy is busy putting the pieces together. And there you have it, a finished bag.
Yeah, like I think that there is definitely like an obscured sense of time that people have. You know, like everyone, including myself, expect things to not take as long as they actually do. Being a messenger helps you with that, though. You get really used to being able to guess how long something will take. I remember not being able to fit everything I wanted to fit in my bag. That's why we made really big bags.
Well, messenger bags, it's something that over the years have gotten bigger and bigger. It seems like when I started in '92, I had a Manhattan Portage with the one strap, and it was, you know, medium-sized bag. And mostly you were carrying envelopes. That was what I was mostly carrying. Occasionally you get a roll or something like that. And if they had anything bigger, they would send a van or a walker for it, you know?
I mean, it seems like there's a little bit of an obsession with having the biggest bag. Not biggest bag other than other people, but like just the biggest bag you can possibly carry for work. I don't understand it, but I guess if it has to do with how much money you can make, depending on how much you can carry, that makes sense.
But now, with the change in the economy, and I guess mostly the change in the economy, the business is thinned out so much that to keep it going, you gotta take bigger stuff, you know, so.
Bag's getting larger, my pay's getting smaller. Well, I'm just trying to make myself $1. I put a 10-story building on my back. If you pay me to move it, I'll stuff it in my bag.
Now my bag is huge, and it leaves 20 pounds it weighs 20 pounds when I leave my house. Hey, what's up?
I would say like the heart of Reload is still, you know, designing stuff for messengers. But as far as paying the bills, you know, it's not there's not as many messengers anymore.
Well, one place that still has a ton of messengers is New York City. Most messengers will agree if you can messenger in Manhattan, you can messenger anywhere. Like Squid here, who was born in Queens and has been a bicycle messenger for the past 18 years. Being one of the best messengers in the world, you would think Squid had an attitude. And he does, a good attitude. Squid's real name is Kevin Bolger, and he's not only one of the nicest messengers I've met, he's one of the nicest people I've met.
That's the difference between a vet and a rookie to me. You know, I consider myself a rookie in the sense that I'm out there every day. I'm still making mistakes too, and I don't think I'm better than anybody else. You know, I make mistakes just like everyone else. But there's guys I give respect to. It's just these guys that you see. They're old guys and they're still doing it. You know, and you know they love it. If you got the hustle and the drive, you can really do anything here, you know? So that's why I love it. I'm proud to be part of it, you know?
One of the main things that comes to mind when I think about Squid is leader. I think he's a really great leader. And I also think he like makes everyone feel like special, you know, like he is like willing to like take the time to like look you in the eye and like be really honest with you. And he also just has like so much heart for everything that he does.
Well, big vision is something that I think everyone has in their life, you know? It's, we're all here for some reason or another, I believe. So what is it? You know, a lot of people might go through their whole life and not realize what their vision is, you know? But to me, it's something that you realize you want to do and it's important to you, and you'll make a lot of sacrifice to make it happen.
Did you forget that I'm just a courier?
Influence is that's something awesome for me, you know, and something awesome about living in New York too is there's a lot of influence from different people and different things here. I'm really influenced by music, you know, and also people that are around me, strong people that are around me. So it's something that inspires me to get up every day and do it again, you know. My son is a huge influence in my life, you know. Yeah, influence is something that is part of your daily life, you know, so make sure it's positive, and if it's not positive, then figure it out or get the hell out, you know.
Noisy air circles you, puts you on your back again. This town will try to be your friend, but it only makes you sin. You should know it's not easy anymore. You should know it's not easy anymore. You should know we're all strangers anymore.
Location, location, location. I probably picked the worst possible city in America to start a bicycle courier business.
I don't know that anyone, for the most part, knows that there's messengers there. I mean, certainly when I moved there, I had vaguely heard there was, but you don't, when you think of messenger towns, you don't think of San Diego.
So I think that's an interesting thing about your business model. Like when I've described you, and I've definitely described you to other people before, I sort of describe you as somebody who was more interested in being an entrepreneur, that had an interest in being active, you know, that loved bikes. But my understanding, as you've told me in the past, is that you didn't really know that much about bike messengers prior to deciding you wanted to make a living on a bike.
This is Jeff Kidder. He lives outside of Chicago now. Like many messengers, Jeff worked in multiple cities. Unlike many messengers, Jeff was pursuing a doctorate in sociology. He then went on to write a book about messenger culture and is now an assistant professor at Northern Illinois University.
So the type of research I do is called ethnography, which basically means studying people in sort of in the settings and environment in which they naturally go about their lives, as much as possible to be a participant in the world and among the people you're trying to understand.
So sort of describe the job, the pay structure. Depending on the place, sometimes it's commission. Most New York riders seem to be paid largely on commission. And then other places like in San Diego or even several of the firms in Seattle pay by the hour. At a completely economic level, it makes sense why a messenger paid commission would like a rush job. They're paid more, period, for doing a rush job, and B, if you're paid on commission, the more rush jobs you have, the more you're going to make simply because you're doing more work in that day. You're making more deliveries. But the interesting thing about bike messengers is that even messengers that are paid hourly still seem to get really excited and enthralled with doing rush deliveries, which I think really speaks to how the job itself involves this flow, this creative, spontaneous action that in and of itself is enjoyable beyond the pay.
I work on commission, yeah, I be on a mission. I will pedal my package in the pouring rain. I work on commission, I'm on myself a pedaling mission. I will deliver your package today.
Kurt Fletcher inspired me to be a bicycle messenger. I had read about him, a story about him, and I thought, well, if he can do it, you know, maybe I can do it. Make a career out of it.
But I remember you calling me and saying, hey, I found you on the web. I know you run your own messenger service. Can you tell me about it? So, and I remember having a cool conversation with you. You were totally stoked about wanting to do it in San Diego. And I don't remember my reaction. Hopefully I was telling you, yeah, give it a go.
But messengering offers a lot of other things that you can't get in your normal service industry type job, like a job at Kinko's or a job at McDonald's.
For somebody who is as passionate as I am about riding, you know, it's a dream job, and it always was. I think now that I'm older, I'm ready to move on. But in my 20s and 30s, I absolutely love my job.
I mean, I've definitely talked to multiple messengers who have that sort of experience of starting this job to be, you know, a part-time summer job before going to graduate school or before starting something else, and then it ends up being what they're still doing 10 years later.
I mean, I started messengering when I was 19, so pre-messengering would be just out of high school. I went to college for a bit, studied a bit of philosophy.
There's one messenger I interviewed, talked about it in terms of, he referred to it as a quality of life issue, and he in fact made stickers that would say just that, it's a quality of life issue. And yeah, he started messengering in like the mid to late 90s before going to graduate school, and ended up still doing it when I was interviewing him 10 years later because he couldn't think of a better job to be doing.
There's no other job on the planet that where you get the feeling of freedom like you do being a bike messenger. So I felt it just felt very natural for me to want to be a bike messenger. I was very content with being a bike messenger for many, many years.
And that messengering allows the rider to to go out into city traffic and sort of play in traffic. In many ways, messengering offers the same sort of exciting physical activities that you usually would only find in a leisure time pursuit, like mountain biking.
That's one of the beauties of being a bike messenger, is that you're faced with new choices daily, just in your writing. Fell in love with messengering. Went back to school. Never quite figured out what I wanted to do, so I came back to messengering. You know, when somebody says they're gonna pay you to pick up, pay you to ride your bike around the city, you know, to deliver packages, to carve up traffic, to jump over curves, to just basically, to me, it was just having fun.
So when you look at like your options, if your options are working for a low wage where you have a boss over your shoulder and you're more or less doing very routinized things such as putting french fries in boiling grease or making photocopies all day long, clearly there's, at least for certain people, there's a real appeal to being outside in city traffic, darting in and out of cars. That sort of offers a thrill that you often can't find.
Helmets.
You hate them. You always, man, I don't want to wear a helmet. And you'll ride around town with this friggin' thing on your head, handlebars, rather than put it on your head. And once when I was in Canada, just visiting, there was a television advertisement that said, helmets are hard, brains are soft, use both. And I say that to you all the time, and to other messengers. And I wear a helmet all the time. And you make our daughter wear a helmet.
And I put my head through the windshield of a car. And I just realized then, you know, luckily I could have lost my eye. I got 3 stitches here, and I got 6 stitches here on my scalp. So that's when I started wearing the helmet. After that, because you know I'm older now. This happened in 2005, so it's not about me anymore. I got a family. I got people who depend on me. It's not just, you know, the wild lone Yahoo out there having a party. You know, it was like that for a long time, but it's different now. So.
Well, you know, if you're gonna wear it, you might as well wear it. I feel like I'm less likely to hurt myself riding my bike. The point where I have the most skill that I could possibly have than I am to doing every other thing. So, I mean, I don't shower with my helmet on, but that's where I'm more likely to hurt my head. You know, so why not wear my helmet where I'm playing pinball?
And yet you don't like to wear a helmet. And you would prefer not to. So I don't even know, since I don't work with you, I don't know if you wear a helmet every day or not, but I hope that you do, because I don't want your brains on the pavement, and try to explain that to our daughter.
Stitches on my head and scars on my knees. I did what my woman said, yeah, I did what she pleased. But when I met St. Peter, even he could surely see that when that plane went down, old helmet would save me.
When I was in New York, I met one guy who doesn't wear a helmet ever. Of course, he doesn't ride a bike either. This is Kurt Boone, New York City's fastest foot messenger. He likes to write poetry on the subway in between deliveries.
I tell stories about messenger life and poetry, and this is like one of my poems, Cycle and Run. Cycle and run. Cycle and run on the city streets. This is the messenger game. Hauling packages as we fly through the city streets. Around yellow cabs, city buses, and killer trucks. Every day is the same, as messengers need more dollars to stay in this game. Cycle and run, hauling packages as we go. You just don't know.
Big city, you are my friend. You're where my day starts
going fast. I see nothing but yellow cabs on Park Avenue, on Fifth Avenue, and on Wall Street. I am the king of this city, you know me. I am the bicycle messenger. We are both speed demons, one picking up passengers and the other delivering packages. This is New York City and everybody's in a rush. Billionaires and millionaires, taxi.
Do not like cab drivers. They're a pain in the ass. No, and not all of them, but they have their own style of driving that took me a long time to accept, or to understand, not to accept. Well, I guess both. I think for a time, if you don't understand their driving style, you get angry at cab drivers because you feel like they should be driving another way and they're not. And like I said, they have their own, I will merge out in front of you whenever I want to style of driving, or I will T-bow you into a curb to pick up a fare. And that gets very irritating. You want to hurt the cab driver. So, but aside from cab drivers and the bad weather and the stinky air and the mean people, yeah, it's a great place. No, not really. I would highly recommend anybody who has a passion for bike messengering to go to New York and check it out, because it's a very unique place, unique people, and it'll be an experience that you'll never forget, definitely.
If I had to use one word to describe how I started as a bicycle messenger, ass backwards.
Like, the more common sort of business model is you're already a rider for another company. You're already established in the sort of messenger world in the city that you're working in, and you realize more or less that you can poach clients from the big company you've been riding for. And that's not what you did at all. Like, you were in Indiana and said, I want to make a living on a bicycle. How can I do this? Oh, there's this thing called bike messengering. How can I go about doing this? Well, if I'm going to do this, I don't want to do it in the winter, right? And so you chose a city you could move to that sort of met criteria that you thought sounded good. Again, thinking about it as an entrepreneur starting a new business venture.
I definitely wanted to be a pro athlete when I was in my 20s. And when I graduated college, I thought, you know, maybe I could be a pro triathlete. So to transition into an occupation where you get to ride your bike all the time, and people say get paid for it, but it's not as glamorous as being a pro athlete, I'm sure.
This beautiful lady is my wife, Mimi. While she wasn't my only employee over the past 10 years, she definitely was my favorite.
You've had some good ones. Some not so, well, no, most everybody's been really great. And fortunately, you've had people that even now, they don't messenger, but they're happy to fill in for you for a day or two, which enables you to film this movie. There's all those people who say, yeah, sure, I can fill in a day or two. I think that's always something that you try to instill in people, and you can't really, because it's your business and you take more pride in the job being done right than anyone will. But you always try to instill that in the people that work for you, and sometimes you can and sometimes you just can't. And everybody's been polite to the clients. I think that they know that you take the job seriously and you're polite to the client and you don't go in with an attitude or anything, and I think that everyone tries to emulate that. Like, you're such a good guy among messengers. Like, you're this clean cut-ish, dirty, but clean cut-ish. You don't really curse, you don't smoke, you don't work drunk. So, and you take the job really seriously, and I think that when people work for you, they try to emulate you in those ways.
I don't like to describe the job. Well, I like to describe the job. It's just so hard to describe. I mean, it's hard to describe something that you do, but you don't study it, you know? I don't know. I have a hard time describing it in words. Now, Jeff Kidder, on the other hand,
Flow are those activities where your skills are perfectly matched by the task at hand. In sort of academic circles, it has a specific meaning that was popularized by a psychologist, Csikszentmihalyi, and in particular, for an activity to be enjoyable, as Csikszentmihalyi sees it, is for the activity to be utterly engrossing. Thinking about playing a game of table tennis, or I guess regular tennis for that matter, if you're playing against an opponent who is markedly better than yourself, you are going to feel stress or anxiety. Alternatively, if you're playing a game of tennis against someone who is markedly below your skill level, you will feel bored, engrossed in that activity. So if you are basically playing against someone who is exactly at your skill level, this is the sort of game or the sort of activity, the sort of experience where you can become completely engrossed, not bored and not anxious, but just in that moment and taking part in that moment, and your mind and your body sort of move at one. You hear this, not surprisingly, a lot with bike messengers, that when bike messengers talk about what is exciting or fun about their job, they talk specifically about flowing in with and through urban traffic.
You see, I am a messenger, and this is my job, on bike and on foot, weaving in and out of traffic and hopping on trains. The Statue of Liberty, Wall Street, and MTA, the Empire City Rush.
This is James Adamson. He worked as a messenger in Seattle for 7 years. He then moved down to San Diego, where he became my first employee. He worked in San Diego for 3 or 4 years before moving up to Portland. He now owns his own one-man messenger company.
But Aloha, the bicycle company, there were good times and bad times. Actually, had there been enough money to pay 2 people, it would have been a pretty decent job. Unfortunately, there wasn't. You know, when I started, everyone thought of, it seemed like 10 years was the breaking point. And day one, now you're like sitting there like, man, 10 years, that's forever. I never really had the expectation of having my own company. I just kind of fell into it, and And I'll be perfectly honest, I really only said like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea because I could not for the life of me show up on time to the job I had, and I figured, yeah, if I worked for myself, no one could fire me for sleeping in. Ah, a masochist of fun. It's starting to feel that way, but not quite there yet. I think 10 years still is a good marker. But, you know, not to say that someone's been doing it 5 years as a rookie, but most people have figured it out by then. Most people have figured it out in 2 weeks because it's not really that difficult, but so at 2 weeks, you're not a rookie. At 10 years, you're a veteran. You know, economics is kind of business school-like, and I guess technically I am a business owner. I have a BA in economics from the University of Washington. Go Huskies. You learn in economics that there's things called psychic benefits. They're the, you know, you think of, maybe you should think of it and they think of finance and money and how to get more of it, but they don't know about the psychic benefits. Like, job A may pay $500,000 a year, but it has negative psychic benefits. So, I mean, maybe it only has 100,000 of negative psychic benefits, so you still come out 400,000 ahead. But as a courier, you know, the psychic benefits are generally pretty good. So, you know, you make 10,000 a year, but 200,000 of psychic benefits. So you're still 190,000 ahead.
Psychic benefits won't buy you anything. Psychic benefits won't get you a diamond ring. Take your benefits, go back to your home. Lay down on your sofa, be psychic all alone.
Just take the car. No, I'll take the train, and then I'll ride the bike 20 miles, and then I'll catch a bus, and then I'll ride another 15 miles to get there. And I think, come on, Kenton, just concede and take the car this time.
So once in a while, James drives, but he is the old man who is very, very cautious. And so he's not a big fan of driving. Well, I grew up in San Francisco, which has a really great public transportation system. So most of my friends that I grew up with, actually, we never learned how to drive because we didn't have to.
You're totally against driving, and when you drive, you never ever drive when it's possible for me to drive. And when you have driven, like when I came home from the hospital with our tiny baby girl, it was kind of scary sitting in the back seat and letting you drive. You drive really, really slow, and you seem nervous the entire time, like your nickels are gripped on the steering wheel, and yeah.
But maybe it's because he never drives, because you can tell when he gets behind the car. It's like both hands on the wheel, slowly pulls away, looks, and just like very, very careful. So actually this past year I started taking driving lessons because I think I'm really scared of it because I'm 30 now. I've never driven, and it's really scary. And me and my partner, we have 11 or 12 bikes for every function. We have a really large cargo bike that Belinky made. We have another semi-small cargo bike that was made here in San Francisco by a guy whose last name is Cleaver, and we call it the Cleaver. And a couple touring bikes and basket bikes, and we just get around on bike.
Well, we'll never get a ticket whenever James drives a car, and he's very, very good at it.
And you think that everybody should ride a bike rather than walking. Rather than driving, which is absolutely true.
Cars are okay for other people that I see. When it comes to driving, that's not for me. Rather take a train, go by foot, or ride my bike. Cars to me are transportation suicide. I think it was probably after we had been married for a year and she was working at the law firm, she started realizing that I was having more fun than she was at work. So why wouldn't she want to be a bicycle messenger? Not that working at a law firm's not fun.
You'd be surprised how many times I get lawyers telling me that they wish they had my job. I just tell them I wished I had their paycheck. But paychecks aren't always what they're cracked up to be, and most messengers will tell you they're not in it for the money, but rather a quality of life.
I don't think anyone thinks that they want to be a bicycle messenger when they grow up. No one says, "Oh, what do you want to be, Johnny?" "Oh, I want to be a bicycle messenger." So I think a lot of people in their 20s wind up being bicycle messengers in roundabout ways, and that was definitely the case with my wife. She probably didn't know any bicycle messengers, but she wound up marrying a bicycle messenger.
You were getting busier in the courier business, and you needed help. Okay. So when you needed help, I kind of jokingly was like, "Oh, please, can it be me?" Most happily quit my job at the law firm and started working as a courier. When we were just we weren't even dating, and you said, no, we were talking something about just how we grew up, and we both grew up in kind of lower middle income families, and I said that when I had kids, I would like to not have a lot of money, that I would like to be able to give them a more simple life. And you said, "Oh, then you should marry a courier." And we were just dating, and you were just joking. And I kind of laughed, but here we are. We have a baby, and we live in 300 square feet.
my wallet.
It doesn't seem to matter what city you're in. And I don't know if this holds internationally, but I would imagine it does. The messengers and baristas find each other.
So I think the first day I charged you $1, and you were kind of like, second day, another $1. It was a simple drink. We became fast friends, and I don't think I charged you from there.
That's one of the perks of the job. I don't know how many people get that benefit, but we have good friends who own coffee kiosks, coffee carts, and you have magically always gotten free coffee there, or within like the first 2 coffees you paid for, then maybe since that in 10 years you've gotten free coffee at their coffee kiosk every single friggin' day, probably more than once a day sometimes. So we probably owe Tony and Jen a lot of money in coffee.
Oof. Would it be still bro price, or would it be regular price? Double? Okay, let's see. If I put them all together, 10 years, I mean, let's just go lightly and say like 1 a day, which is not right either, because you're only getting 1 here, and then you probably get 1 at Jen's, another one at Christie. God, let's just say $2 a day. 2 times 5 is 10, times 4 is 40, times 12, 88, something like that, I don't know. So $88. I don't know, 88, I don't know, to 160 times 10, oh man, that's a new car right there. I think we better not think about that.
I still haven't quite figured out what the baristas get out of the relationship, but for some reason they keep welcoming us back. Because it certainly isn't money, because we're notoriously poor tippers, and a lot of the time they give us free coffee.
I still remember you going back to the behind the Kohl Center in the park, and you go nap, you know, dream your great dreams. I thought, hey, that's a great job. He gets to ride his bike and go nap and everything. And then you come tearing out of there, you go, I got one in the hopper, I got one. And then one was a good deal, you know, because you could buy a burrito. That was pretty cool, and I was like right there alongside with you, you know, I was pretty excited for you. I'm like, he owns his own business. That's crazy. Maybe I'll do that one day.
I don't know that I would have made it without Coffee Cart Tony. You know, wasn't making any money. If I had had to pay for coffee and cinnamon rolls on top of it, I mean, probably I just would have been homeless. And the company's good too. Keeps you laughing. It wasn't just the free coffee.
I was either going to be a tree trimmer and move to Alpine, or what I ended up doing was buy the coffee cart, which was, I think, just the easiest thing I could do. Was no transition whatsoever. And I've owned it for about 5 years now. You know, no one takes care of your business like yourself. Even if it doesn't show, right? I mean, you grow gray hairs, everything is a concern for you, even when you're not working.
It is possible on some misguided delusion they're hoping if we come around enough they can make out with us. I don't know. It's a great mystery, but I'm not going to delve into it too much. I don't want to break the spell and suddenly have every messenger in the world cut off from their free coffee.
Gladly pay you Tuesday for a coffee today.
10 cups will add up to more than I made in a month. Without your kindness, these 10 cups will put me into debt. But did you forget that I'm just a courier? Did you forget that I'm just a courier?
Well, no matter the city, the name of the game is still deliveries. More deliveries equals more money. But technology and the economy seem to be making a dent in the volume of traditional deliveries. When I got together with Brad for lunch, he said he had a new idea that might help me out. He was making postcards, announcing a new marketing campaign. He said we could deliver apples. I told him he spelled apple wrong, and he just said, oops.
I gotta pack my bags, I must be on my way. Oh Lord, I can't take no more people treating me this way. I heard my name being called over on Glory Shore. Standing in line while the holy whistle blowing, don't count me in no more. One morning while waking up, I found myself down in bed. Clouds hanging over my life like a rooftop made of lead. My feet won't do no walking, you better plan to carry me. This old body don't want this load, somebody come set me free.
Money. Oh man, money and being a courier is probably the most frustrating thing long term and the easiest thing to overlook short term.
I started in '94. With very few exceptions, I've made less money every year for 15 years. So that's a little frustrating, and most people would consider that a not very good career path.
Someone told me one time that there's three things in any occupation or job you're doing. It's what you're doing, it's like as far as like what you're actually doing. I mean, is it challenging? Does it bring out the best in you? Are you into it? Do you have fun?
I think the best I ever did as a bike messenger was around being a one-man operation, was probably around $50,000, which, you know, I thought was a good amount of money to make for riding a bicycle. That was probably my best year. I think most years were in the mid-30s.
It's who you're doing it with, and that's obviously co-workers or people that are on the project with you, or in a messenger's case, the clients you're delivering for.
Money. You don't think that we need a lot of money, but I know that you want to have more money, particularly now that we have a baby.
It's definitely not a way to, if you're looking to boost up your 401k for retirement, don't go into being a bike messenger.
And how much money you make?
Sunshine burns my eyes and the gravel road hurts my toes. Been working trying to save a dime, but I'm watching my debts grow. When the angel come to pick me up, I scream from in my soul. Take this pain, take these blues, I ain't working for them no more.
I would say freedom would be a good way to describe this job. But freedom means something different to, freedom means something different to everybody, so.
When there's no work to do, dispatch will often put you on standby. The good part is you're usually free to do whatever you want. Brad's a crossword guy, and when he's not doing the crossword, he likes to check his mail. When he's not checking his mail, he likes to check out other things. He's always telling me the ladies love bicycle messengers. I told him that had not been my experience, but he was free to prove me wrong.
I think it all goes back to, you know, the reason why anybody's a bike messenger is because you love riding.
Well, I think a philosophy degree leads a lot of people to becoming a bike messenger because they can't get a job doing anything else.
There's that saying, I'm definitely want to live up to it. So if you ride your bike every day until you're 90, you'll be riding a bike when you're 90.
Everything really focused around the bike. I was passionate about being a bike messenger, so I got into bike racing when I started bike messengering, and I was pretty serious about that when I was younger. There was a time when I thought maybe I could make a living, or I wanted to make a living as a bike racer.
A lot of my field work really just consisted of me working as a messenger, meeting other messengers both on the job or at races or other off-work events, and just sort of talking to them about their thoughts and feelings about being a messenger.
I think usually, like most messengers, we're always more concerned about what happened to our bikes than we are scanning our bodies.
So I think there's a lot of messengers I talked to where I didn't sit them down in front of a tape recorder, but their insights were very helpful and useful in sort of figuring out what it is that makes the bike messenger subculture so important to many bike messengers.
I think I was pretty fortunate to ride as many years as I did and not have any serious run-ins with cars or buses.
If I worked with lions, be just like dealing with kittens. If I had to fall from an airplane, that'd be fine with me. Here I am working in the street, danger on every corner I meet. Helmet on my head, package on my back, I got a job to do. I got a job to do.
Brad's hand-drawn postcards just didn't get the response we had hoped for. So he had a new idea, he said. He would make some new, more professional-looking flyers. Well, while the idea never really took off, he did get one huge order. In fact, it had him so busy one afternoon, he had to call in backup. Luckily, Emerson was in the area to lend a hand. Part of the messenger game is always finding new ways to get the work done, no matter how busy you get. Emerson said that he would give Brad a call when he was all clear. Brad taking Emerson's call, asking if he has time for one more pickup. Messenger rule of thumb? There's always time for one more pickup.
Big business don't know my name, they don't care what I do. They don't know if I paid my taxes or if I'm bugging you. In the middle of the night my phone don't ring, but in the morning they call me up. Hey there Sonny, you've been on your way, but is that package dropped?
Well, everyone knows the old saying, behind every great bicycle messenger is a woman with a better paying job. Meet Chicken, James's wife.
First memory of me even like having an inkling that I would be interested in him, it was my friend Heidi and I were walking down the street and she's like, "There's James, isn't he cute?" And I'm like, "He's totally cute, but his hair is really bad."
I mean, as far as being a messenger for so long, I mean, I would probably still be one anyway, but she certainly makes it much more bearable. It's easier to be a messenger this long with Chicken. I recommend everyone gets one, but they can't have mine.
There was something that happened because we both worked downtown at the time, so we saw each other quite a bit. And then there was, at some point, something switched, and I'm like, maybe his hair isn't as bad as I think it is. You know, like, I'm kind of interested in him.
Snacks in a snack hole, cribbage in front of him, and a bike. He likes bikes as much as you, probably more.
Well, Mimi is right in saying that James loves bikes. But there's two other things he loves almost as much as bikes: pinball and donuts.
Well, you know, this came up the other day, sitting on the red couch at Coffee Plant, like a line of couriers sitting there drinking coffee, reading the paper, doing the crossword, coming up with their schemes of world domination. And you know, one of the guys who wasn't a courier, you know, with an office job, was like, mutters to the guy next to him, like, man, how these guys afford to have the money to sit here all day and drink coffee. And like, I don't think he quite understands that we're sitting there because we don't have any money. We're not earning any money sitting there doing nothing.
Every day's the same. Every day the same old game. It don't matter, sunshine and rain. Cycle and run, same old game.
It's just when messengers officially celebrate their occupation within their city worldwide.
Portland may have the coolest mayor in the country. Last year he declared 10-9 Day an official Portland holiday. This is Claire holding the proclamation. Claire's been a messenger for 10 years. This is Dee. He's been a messenger for 15 years, attempting to hang the proclamation.
Like wet, James weighs 135 pounds. And there's no way he can be as fast as he is. But he's so evil in his head.
This year, 10-9 Day fell on a Saturday, and no surprise, it was raining. This didn't bother James, though. He just put some more coffee on, and in a manner uncharacteristic of James, took sole responsibility to throw this year's 10-9 Day celebration. I think since I was in town, he wanted to make an extra special impression. He even bought the good ketchup.
You know, I had probably been a messenger for near 10 years before I saw Quicksilver. I was aware it existed. And I have to say that even with 10 years of hype, it more than lived up to expectations.
Hector!
I never quite understood that his dream was to sell hot dogs, but you know, to each his own. We've all got our weird retirement schemes planned out, and you know, our pipe dreams. And you know, I always was stoked for Hector that he, you know, he may not have aimed very high, but he made his dream come true, and that was awesome. It's not a good movie, but I still think everyone should see it. It's always that line from Clerks where they're sitting around This job would be great if it wasn't for the fucking customers. But then we'd be out of a job. You know, there's those stretches where it seems like a daily struggle just to keep it running. But then you don't want to replace any part before it's time. I mean, you want to get every last penny out of it, so it becomes an ongoing challenge. I mean, I usually get more pennies out of my parts than most people. They would have called them garbage long ago, but I've been doing it a long time. I really enjoy it. You know, at my age, it pretty much only gets worse from here, but and had I really wanted to focus on it, I probably shouldn't have been riding a bike all day, but you know, I just liked riding bikes, and racing let me ride bikes more.
It is an interesting part of the job, is you can be as much or as little as a people person as you want to. You're not surrounded by the people you actually work with. You could actually never see them if you felt like it. And interactions with clients can be 2 seconds. I mean, you could go probably a whole day without saying anything. But if you love people, you could bro down all day long, and you know, it's a nice part of the job. It's like Tuesday, man, I love people. I'm gonna hang out, tell stories, drink coffee, see how all my clients' weekends were. But you know, Wednesday, I might hate everyone. And can go, you know, sit in the park and take a nap and meditate on retribution and, you know, not talk to anyone. It's a good part of the job.
It is nice that there's the World Messenger community, and I haven't been a part of it as much as sometimes I'd like to be, or could have, but it is nice that you can go almost anywhere and find some people who will more than likely take you in, at least give you a couch and a beer. And then if you've worked in 2, 3 or more cities, I mean, it works out well that you've got people in towns.
I don't think it ever stopped raining, although no one seemed to mind, and thus we appreciated ourselves.
Messenger Appreciation Day. The messengers are hardcore and driven to the bone by the dogs of Wall Street and the industry. No matter what the business or weather condition, the package must be picked up and delivered on time and fast. Like 20 minutes fast and shut your mouth. That's dispatch. Shut your mouth and just pick up and deliver. Messenger Appreciation. Messengers try to make sense of the scene on foot, bicycle, motorcycle, or van driving couriers. We all in this messenger business together. Does the boss appreciate it? Hell no. And the messengers say, so what? We don't need the boss approval. It's our day. Messenger Appreciation Day.
Ain't no holidays, ain't no paid vacation, ain't no health insurance, but you got appreciation October 9th. Woo, yeah, October 9th. Well, we'll take off 364 days of the year to give you one little day in the middle of the fall when the weather ain't no good. 2 little days that add up to 19, 10, and 9, October 9th. Yeah, we're gonna give you October 9th. Yeah, but see if anyone even thinks about it.
So I was still living the dream, but I just didn't know how soon the dream was gonna end with the economy the way it was. And it's funny how things don't usually get
as good, as fast as they get as bad.
The clients were getting harder to find. Clients were moving out of downtown St. Louis, so it was becoming tougher to run a respectable bike messenger service. The way that the city was set up and the way that clients were spread out too far for me to be efficient. So I guess you could say my frustrations really were more on the business. Have always been in the financial and business end of being a bike messenger. I mean, I was never frustrated with anything that went on with the riding aspect of being a bike messenger. That was the fun aspect of it.
I knew I was gonna have to find a time that I could close my business because it just wasn't working anymore. So I picked August 23rd, 2011 as the last day I would run my business. It gave me 1 year out from, so the decision wasn't real rash, but yet it was far enough away that I can maybe try to figure out what I'm gonna do. So, which I'm obviously still working on.
I was a bike messenger in total for about 19 years. As much as I still love to ride my bike, I'm 43 now. It was, I think when I hit about 40 years old, I think I realized, okay, I don't want to be a bike messenger till I'm 65. So I think it's a good transition for me. It's still, I feel like I'm still in some way involved with cycling. And I found that I didn't really realize it, but I found that I really enjoy designing as well. Apparel and bags and stuff like that. And I think I have kind of a knack for it, or I think I have a good knack for it with my background of messengering for so many years.
I'll say it, I don't want to be making the deliveries anymore every day.
What do you do when you do the best that you can?
But I'm trying to stay positive.
But your life just don't turn out the way that you had planned.
And I'll probably look back and say, man, I wish I were still riding my bike.
You called it your job, your career, your identity.
So while I'm not where I want to be right now, I can look back and say that, yeah, this has been great.
Give it everything and left you with pockets empty.
I never, ever, ever, ever thought that there would be a day that you didn't love your job, love what you do. I could see you doing it when you were 70 years old, and I imagine that you would still love it. It seems now that you really can't stand your career. You have good days sometimes, but for the most part, I think you really resent it, and the fact that it hasn't grown in the way that you wanted, and that's not your fault. The economy's been really shitty. Still, it makes you feel somehow like you haven't succeeded. It didn't go the way that you wanted it to, and now you resent it. And you still do as good a job as ever before, but I know you're not thrilled about it anymore.
There comes a time in your life that you must decide.
I think if you want to build something, you have to be in it for the long haul, you know, so.
Do I have the guts to fight, or am I gonna just run and hide?
If you have a big vision or a big goal, it's not something that you're gonna pull off in 3 months.
Well, anything worth doing, my dad said was worth doing right.
As an employee, I'm the same type of person as I am an owner, and I'm a hard-working person.
It may get tough, but you've never backed down from a fight.
You know, I come in a little bit early, I stay a little bit late, I never turn down work, I never complain. And then finally I came to a crossroads when I decided, you know, am I gonna keep being an employee, or you know, I had an opportunity with my partner, Fernando. It's like, we got an opportunity to go for it ourselves, you know, and make the company that we want to work at. It's good to be challenged, you know, so as a new challenge, I was like, okay, let's do it. You know, it kind of fell into place. I was like, all right, this is what I'm supposed to be doing now. But it's not easy, bro. And every day, you wonder if it's gonna happen, you know?
Shangri-Lo, Shangri-Lee, Shangri-La.
The perfect job.
Well, you don't ask much. You're just looking for that perfect job.
Been close. I've seen it in my sights.
For 15 years you've been close. At least that it seems.
I'll keep looking. It might be a white whale.
Now you realize that you just ain't living the dream.
I don't know what it is that makes someone do this job as many years as I have, and there's certainly people who've done it a lot longer, you know. Two people get hired the same day, and you can look at them and, you know, you don't know if you flip a coin and one of them could last 2 days and the other guy could last 20 years. It's impossible to tell.
And, you know, eventually you get a point where riding a bike just doesn't work anymore. But you have no retirement. So, I mean, those are the messengers I'd like to talk to. Like, what did they do then?
All the faces I've known are looking kind of strange. All the things that I've seen sort of put me in a daze. Yeah, I heard about a place where they forgot about time, and everybody there is doing just fine. I don't know which way to go, thinking I'll head right down the Golden Coast. Tires spin into the night, following dim images through headlights. Somewhere it seems I lost my dreams, or it might be that they were.
He's a great messenger because he takes it seriously, and it doesn't matter. Like, he'll just fucking ride and do the job. It doesn't matter about the weather or whatever. Like, other things that people complain about don't faze him.
It's hard to convert, you know, a unit of psychic benefit to dollars, but my system isn't perfect yet, so I mean, those are clearly just numbers I've made up, but maybe that's how I can make my million the perfect psychic unit conversion to dollars. It can be like a carbon credits. Like I have an excess of psychic benefits. I'll sell you some, along with all these carbon credits that I have, because I, you know, ride a bike 8 hours a day.
Well, yeah, just one question. One more question, I think. What's your plan? Like, what do you have a plan? Like, in terms of how much longer are you going to be in this? And are you planning on staying in it and continuing on, or are you just so frustrated you want to try to get out?